What's going on, everyone? Back here in the kitchen on the other side of bodybuilding. Going to teach you how to do some basic, I don't want to say basic, but a necessity thing for all bodybuilders to know. And I like to, spread my knowledge and especially towards those who are starting out. This was something that I, right now, second nature, but I remember when I started out and I didn't really know how to do this. So today I'm going to teach you how to, prep a bulk amount of chicken, because normal people generally don't know how to do this because, they're not eating a pound of chicken every day like us bodybuilders. But nonetheless, I know there was a big gap of my knowledge when I first started out on how to cook chicken in general, how to make it taste good. I heard some people throw it in they boil it or whatnot. But there's multiple different ways. So I'm going to teach you the most basic way, the one that I found the most easiest and quickest. So yeah, let's get started. So first thing first is to grab your chicken. So what I have is I get these one, I don't know, they're like 6 bags of 2 chicken breasts each, so 12 chicken breasts from Costco. The biggest thing when cooking in bulk is buying in bulk, because you're going to be, spending a lot of money on chicken because you're getting a lot. So try to find the cheapest option. Sometimes grocery stores, like not Costco or Sam's Club, have cheaper chicken, but their quality might be a little different. So just try to find your cheapest option. There's the whole argument you should go organic. I don't know. I feel like you'll be fine. People have been eating non-organic food for a very long time and they're still alive. I don't think it's that big of a deal. I would just try to find the cheapest option if you're on a budget. If not, more power to you. The next step is to preheat your oven to 355, 350. I don't know if I've never used this one before. So 350. So preheat it to 350 as soon as you get those pans out, because as soon as you're done, once you get this down, it will be ready to go. Next is I like to use tin foil on my sheet pans just to save myself the headache of dealing with that. So get 2 little tin foil tins. Come on. Boom. Get those sheets down. All right. And then I'll show you the chicken. All right. So now we're just going to cut the chicken up. I like to I have a little system where I put, 6 of the chicken breasts on one pan and then 6 on the other. It kind of works out. So make sure you have a, big enough cutting board and then a sharp knife. You don't want a dull knife because you're going to be sliding around. I used to use a butcher's knife, and that was really nice. I mean, it just felt really good. That's what I prefer. I don't have that here with me. You can also use scissors, so you don't have to use a cutting board. I just feel like scissors takes a little longer and the pieces are a little not as even. So, but here's the system I've been using with a knife. I've used both. I started out with scissors, to be honest, but I feel like a knife's a little easier. So I know a lot of people cut the fat off. If you're in prep, go for it. But the fat is so minimal that I'm not going to waste my time, to be honest, doing that because I'm lazy. So I like to do long strips first. Just like this. When you use a knife, curl your freaking fingers so you don't chop them off. And you can just ride the blade against your fingers. Just like that. And then one nice flip. And then I just cut them into lines like this. And then now the pieces are going to be a little more even. Obviously, these ones are a little smaller, but nonetheless, boom, right under the sheet pan. So I'll finish these row of bags right here, these 6, and then I'll get them all on there, but I pretty much do the same exact thing. I do the same exact thing for all the bags, all the chicken breasts, just cut them into those little cubes. And then once I get them all piled up on each tray, I'll show you how I smash them down, and I'll show you the best part, the seasoning, the most key ingredient. So, all right, so I'm just throwing the last little bits onto here. For those that don't know, if you have chicken juice in your hands or on your stuff, clean it, because it's very bad. It can cause salmonella, and that's not good for you. And that's why when people say cook chicken, you need to cook it all the way through so you don't get sick, blah, blah, blah. But by now, the oven is ready. So let's get these things in. So I piled them all up. I just got to make sure I kind of even them out. This is a little smaller than I usually use. That's why I try to find big ones. But just try to even it out as much as I can. So pretty much every chicken has the same surface area, so they cook evenly, and then they also get the same amount of seasoning applied. So it's a little gross, so make sure you wash your hands after this. You can use gloves too if you have them. That would probably be smart, but it's okay. I could probably, because this has a little less, I'm just gonna throw some on this bigger tray. All right, that'll be good. So I'll wash my hands. I'll show you the seasoning I'm going to use. So this is the key step. I think a lot of people, it's super easy, but I think a lot of people get this wrong in how to make your chicken good. First step is salt. It doesn't really matter what kind of salt you use. You could use iodized salt, sea salt, Himalayan pink salt, crushed salt, your mom's salt, whatever salt. You just need salt. And then some good seasoning. So this is what I recommend. This is Smokehouse Maple. I have used this for a very long time and love this. It's sweet and it's good. Biggest thing is look at the kcals. This one says 0. Obviously, it's a little more because they can round up and down, but it's good enough for me. If you consistently use it, then keep using it. There's also other things I like. So I like to switch it up. So Jamaican jerk and like this weird company, Horny Hex by Rub Your Chub. Just some random stuff. So biggest thing is salt and then some sort of seasoning. You can also make your own using like pepper with garlic powder and paprika, or you can just use pepper if you're a crazy person. But I always like to use a premix because I'm lazy and I don't like to make my own and don't really know how and whatever. But salt and then some sort of seasoning. So this is how I season. So what you want to do is, it doesn't really matter which order, but I like to start with my salt. I know this might be a lot of seasoning for some people, but I promise you it tastes good. You can up and lower the salt depending on what your seasoning is using. If it's seasoning salt, then don't use salt. But I like to do a nice base coat on the entire chicken. I do both trays. Obviously, you can always add more salt later, like when it's cooked or when you're eating the food. But I think this just gives a little pop, and it also sticks to it when it cooks. So now time for the Smokehouse Maple. Same thing. I just put a nice hefty layer. Probably a little more than some people like, but I only do one side, so that's my excuse. And it tastes so good. My chicken is amazing compared to other people, so. Boom. All right, so now we just throw these in the oven, and I'll show you what I set it for. All right, they're in. So now we set a timer for just to be safe. I always do at least, because it's so much chicken, so at least 30 minutes, so 32 minutes. I'll see you then. Okay. All right, my timer just went off, so how do I turn this off? I'm just gonna throw these on the stove top because they're really hot. All right. Okay, so at this point, we're usually done. However, because this is a bodybuilding version of cooking chicken, I wanted to add this in here. So at this point, we have all our chicken out. And if we were to be meal prepping, I would also have my rice cooker going, probably filled to the brim. And all you have to do is just take your containers. I'd usually put these, like, let them cool down and then put them over here, have my rice right here. And you just boom, boom, measure, grab the next container, boom, boom, measure it out. But because I have accessibility to my food most of the time, I just throw it into a large container like this, put it in the fridge, and then when I need a meal, I'll just measure it out from there and put it into my bowl, which, wherever that is. So I'll put it into a container there and then cook it like that. That's just me. It just saves refrigerator space is all, and I don't have to prep food out. But I've done both, and they both work. This is definitely more convenient. You just pull a meal out, but the prepping your food is more convenient. But to save fridge space, it's definitely a lot easier to just put all my chicken into one giant container. But that's going to be all today. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. Hope you learned how to cook some chicken. I'll do some other twists and how to cook some other things. But yeah, I'll see you in the next one. Thanks.